Booktube, Sarah here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my May 2019 TBR. Say it with me, everybody. It's TBR time! Yay! I'm so excited. I have been waiting for the thread to go up for May. I wait like from like the 15th of the month till the list gets posted on the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads, eagerly awaiting the TBR, or the monthly challenge, to go up, because as you guys know, these are my favorite videos every month. I love compiling my new TBR. I love getting all those fresh books, and I am just super excited about doing this. So yeah, let's jump right into it, because as you guys know, as normal, I have a bunch of books here to talk about. So if you are new to my channel, the way that I compile my TBR every month is that I base it off of challenges that I'm doing. And the main challenge that my TBR kind of gets built off of, which is the jumping off point. Once this list gets posted, then I actually sit down and do my entire TBR for the month. And that is the monthly challenge from the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads, and I will leave a link to it in the description box below. So every month they have 10 prompts. Pick a book to go with each prompt. You do not have to do all 10 prompts. You also don't necessarily have to read all romance novels, and I've always said this. You know, these challenges or these prompts are really open-ended. And you can, you know, read. I have fit cozy mysteries in here. I've fit thrillers in here. You know, as long as it fits the prompt, you should be fine. So, yeah, so even if you're not a diehard romance reader and it's just something like you like to dip your toes into, check out this challenge if you enjoy doing reading challenges, because I really do love this one. So I will go through that one first. So prompt number 1 is M is for May. Read a book that starts with M, or a book whose author's first or last name starts with the letter M. I'll be reading Only Yours by Susan Mallory. This is the 4th book in the Fool's Gold series, so I'm very much looking forward to it. I am not going to be talking a lot about what all these books are about. I'm just going to kind of go through them, but I will list them all in the description box below, of course. The next category is a bird of the month, and for this month it's the nightingale. The nightingale symbolizes love and longing. With its evening song, it is a bird of love, sheltering secret lovers from prying eyes. Because it sings all night long, the nightingale was once thought to not sleep at all. Read a book with a character that prefers the nighttime or is a singer, or a book with lovers who are either keeping their relationship a secret, or where one is keeping a secret from the other, or a book with a dark cover. So the book I'll be reading for this one is The Mistress by Susan Wiggs. This is book number 2 in the Great Chicago Fire trilogy. In this book, our main character is keeping the fact that she is actually a lady's maid, a secret from the guy in the book. And that's really all I'm going to mention to you about this one. The next one, the Featured Author Challenge. So this is new as of this year. Like, they've always done a Featured Author Challenge, but now they do, what is it, the Queen of Romance and then the Princess of Romance. So they pick 2 different authors, and you can either read a book by either author, or you can read a book, sorry, I actually have some physical books to show you guys this month, or they give you a couple other prompts. So it says here, you may all, okay, so our featured authors, sorry, are Jennifer L. Armentrout or Kat Johnson. And I looked at both of their books. None of them I had on my want to read list on Goodreads. You know, I didn't really want to be jumping into a new series or anything at all like that, even though the book I picked is the beginning of another series, but it's a favorite author. So the other prompts that you could pick are, you may also read a book set in West Virginia, or a book written by an author that writes under multiple names, or a book with a character suffering from a disease or injury, or a book by any author who has won a Rita Award, which is the romance, what does the Rita stand for? Romance Institute something, it's the Romance Novel Awards, essentially. They're like a biggie. And the book I'm picking is one that I just hauled recently, and that is Wicked and the Wallflower by Sarah MacLean. This is the first book in the Bare Knuckle Bastard series, and Sarah MacLean has won a Rita Award, I think a couple of years ago. I can't remember what book it was for, but she did win a Rita Award. I wonder if it says it here. I don't know. I'm not too sure. I can't remember. But anyway, she did win a Rita Award, so I'm very much looking forward to getting to this one. And yeah, I cannot wait to read it. Let me put that over there. The next category here is May the 4th, Star Wars Day. Star Wars Day is May the 4th because of a famous quote from the hugely popular sci-fi series blockbuster. May the Force, or Fourth, be with you. While we are glad that this day exists, its creation was a fluke. In 2005, a German news TV channel um, Iron, channel interview erroneously translated the famous Star Wars quote. In German, "May the Force be with you" was incorrectly interpreted as "We are with you on May 4th." Read a book that is tagged as sci-fi, or a book with a misunderstanding, or miscommunication, or a book that is part of a trilogy. So the one that I'm going with is A Misunderstanding, and the book I'm going to be reading is Head Over Heels by Jill Shalvis. This is the third book in the Lucky Harbor series, and I read the back of this book, and it sounds like our two main characters, the male and female lead, kind of butt heads with each other because they have a great deal of miscommunication. Although when I did see miscommunication, I'm like, isn't that pretty much every romance novel ever? Because romance novels would be so much shorter if only, or like so much less conflict, if only the two characters would have a conversation with each other instead of, assuming things. Because honestly, guys, let's be honest, I love romance novels, but that really is like the bread and butter of the romance novel genre. The next one, category number 5, May the 5th is Cinco de Mayo. On May the 5th, 1862, the Mexican army defeated the French army at the Battle of Puebla. Sorry. This single military battle signified defeat of the European colonial power and a victory for the Mexican people. This single battle was the root of Cinco de Mayo. What Cinco de Mayo has come to be, though, is much more than one battle in a colonial history. Rather, it has come to signify Hispanic and Mexican pride and a time to celebrate the rich culture. Read a book with a Hispanic character, or with a wartime setting, or with any holiday or celebration included in the storyline, or a book where the underdog wins in a contest or battle. And the book I'm picking, I went with a whole holiday in the theme, and that is A Creed County Christmas by Linda Leal Miller. This is book number 4 in the Montana Creed series. This is one that I'm reading for my Stacking the Series challenge, so I wanted to be able to fit this one in, so that's why I went with that part of the prompt. Category number 6, May the 8th. I don't want to say this one out loud, because I know there might be people who might have younger children in the room. National Outdoor Wink Wink Day. Let's just say that. I will leave it down in the description box below. Go check out the prompt if you guys are interested. It's a day to get out in the great outdoors and do things, essentially. It doesn't take much encouragement to prompt most people, and especially college students, to participate in this day. Around 2015, Washington State University banned blankets from the grounds of the campus for fear that they would be using them for reasons other than picnicking. Bad decision. Tell that to a bunch of young college students, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to guess how they would react. I can't believe this is like a day, but it was founded in Washington, D.C. at some university. Read a steamy romance, or a book where the main character spent a lot of time outdoors, or a book with an outdoor scene on the cover. So I'm going with characters that spend time outdoors. And the book I'm going to be reading, actually it kind of goes with this day anyway, Pregnant by the Colton Cowboy by Laura Lacombe. I meant to read this last month, or in April, but I didn't get to it. So I'm just kind of pushing it ahead into this TBR. And this is book number 3 in the Coltons of Shadow Creek series. This is another one for my Stacking the Series challenge. Our main character is a rancher. Ranchers spend a lot of time outdoors, so it fits the category. Number 7, May the 13th, Frog Jumping Day. The roots of Frog Jumping Day go back to Mark Twain's first short story. It was first published in 1865 as Jim Smiley and His Jumping Frog. Later, he published it as The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calverness County. It's also known under the third title of The Notorious Jumping Frog of Calverness County. Read a book with an animal on the cover or in the storyline, shifters do count, or read a short book under 150 pages long. So, I had said in a previous weekly reads video that I did that I bought a whole bunch of these Must Love Dogs anthologies. They're bind-ups of 2 Harlequin novels, essentially. And my goal was to read one every month. Well, one of the books in this one fits into the prompt, because the actual cover, and the book I'm reading is going to be Abby and the Bachelor Cop by Marion Lennox, which is included in this anthology. So this is the copy I'm going to be reading. It has a dog on the cover, so I will post a picture of the cover here, very similar to this cover, but you know what I mean? So there's a dog on the cover, so it absolutely fits the category. And this is from the Banksinka Bay series. It's book number 1. But yeah, so it's going to be contained in this book. So I'm very much looking forward to reading that one. Oh, and this anthology, in case you're curious, is called An Unexpected Rescue. And you will be seeing it again in just a few minutes. The next book that I will be reading, or category number 8, I should say, is National Bike Week, which is the 3rd week in May. Read a sports romance or a book with an athletic character, or read a book with some form of transportation on the cover. So I went with a sports romance, and I am reading Pipe Dreams by Serena Bowen, which is book number 3 in the Brooklyn Bruisers series. So there's the cover right there. Pretty sure that's not NHL standard uniform. Pretty sure they have to wear jerseys. I'm just guessing. But yeah, so I'll be reading this one. This is a series I'm working my way through. It's not bad. I do enjoy it. I'm not a huge hockey person, but this is a decent enough series, and these are all available as part of the Audible romance package as well. Category number 9. May the 27th is Memorial Day in the U.S. Memorial Day is officially celebrated on the last Monday during the month of May. Memorial Day is dedicated to servicemen and women who gave their lives for freedom and country. It is also a time to remember loved ones who have passed away. The roots of Memorial Day observance goes back to 1865 and the end of the Civil War. Memorial Day also marks the beginning of the gardening and summer seasons, even though summer will not occur until a few weeks later. Read a book with a character that is current or former military, or a book set in the spring or summer. So, fun fact, I am Canadian, residing in Toronto, and the weekend, the Monday before Memorial Day, we have what is called Victoria Day up here. And I have yet in the last 3 years to see them use the Victoria Day holiday. So I know that the Romance Readers group put out a call looking for people to do this challenge, like to be the hosts, and I'm debating on it. And if I can do it maybe even just a couple times this year, and then maybe next year ask for May and try and feature Canadian holidays, that would be fun. But Victoria Day is celebrating the birth of Queen Victoria, because we are still part of the Commonwealth. So, and that, it's usually around May 24th, so we refer to it as the May 24 weekend. And it is the unofficial start of summer here in Canada. So we start summer a week before our friends in the US. Anyway, the book I'm going to be reading is Whispering Rock by Robin Carr. This is the 3rd book in the Virgin River series, and the main character in this one is ex-military. So I am very much looking forward to reading this one. And the last category, category number 10, is Reader's Choice, which is read any book of your choosing. And the book I'm going to be reading is the other one in this anthology. And again, I will pop the cover of that book, that single book, up here as well. And it is A Bride for the Mountain Man by Tracy Madison. This is book number 7 in the Colorado Fosters series, excuse me. So I'm very much looking forward to reading that one as well. I figured it was perfect. I got the one book, and then the other one I can use for the I'm drawing a blank, Reader's Choice. So I know a lot of people would probably pick this up and count this as one novel, whereas I do want to break it up into 2 novels, because it adds more books to my finished reading list. I mean, it increases the reading count, right, guys? And really, it is just a bind-up of 2 full-length novels. If these were short stories, it would be a completely different ballgame, but because they are 2 full-length novels, that's why I'm counting them as 2 separate books. So yeah, so there is that one. So that is the first challenge. So next we're going to be doing the Audible Romance Package Category Challenge, which is something that I've been doing on my channel all this year. And you know what, guys? I failed epically at this in April. You know how I did it? About a week ago, towards the end of April, I realized that I never read either of the books that I picked for this challenge. I forgot to list them on my TBR. I actually have a list of all the books that I have the list that I'm reading off of right now, but I break it down into, I take out everything and I just leave the book titles. And I totally, for some reason, they just did not get at it. So, big fail on my behalf. So let's hope we do a better job in May. So let me go here and get the kit. One of my viewers, God love, I'm dropping things. One of my viewers called this the David's Tea Challenge. The David's Tea Jar Challenge. And I so love that. And I want to try and figure out a challenge to do next year, like a TBR type challenge. And that's totally what I'm going to call it, is the David's Tea Jar Challenge. Because this is my David's Tea jar. And I have a whole bunch of these. This is one from Halloween, if you can't tell by all the little ghosties on it. So anyway, for this challenge, those of you who subscribe to the Audible Romance Package, essentially what I do is I put 24 different categories in this jar. And every month I pull out 2 different categories. And so then what I'm going to do is pause the video. And I'm going to go onto my computer and I'm going to pick a book from each category. and then I'm going to come back and tell you guys what they are. And I encourage you guys to pick from the same categories, or if not the same book, at least from the same category, and also read books for those categories for this month. So let's see what we have for the month of May. Shake it up. Doesn't really matter. So there's one piece of paper and two pieces of paper. All right. So let's see what we got. That's going to fall over for the month of May. So the first one we have here is, inspirational. So we're going to probably be reading a Christian, inspirational is going to be a Christian romance. So those are always, no adult content. So that'll be a nice, sweet story. So I will have to look for that. And then the other one is going to be, modern royal. Oh, this will be fun. I do kind of love these stories. So yeah, so these ones should be fun. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go pick my books and I will be right back. Okay, so I picked my two books and I'm super excited about both of them. There were not a lot in the Modern Royal. I was surprised. Only 2 pages, but yet 29 pages of the inspirational. So if that's your jam, definitely go and check it out. So for the inspirational, this one was on the first page, and this is a book I have seen. It's like the universe is telling me I need to read this book for some reason, because I keep seeing it popping up all over the place, and it's called The Color of Heaven by Juliana McLean. And from what I've read, this is about a woman who is married with a child, and the child gets ill, and there's some problems with her marriage. And then one night while she's driving home along this icy road, her car goes off the road and she ends up like in an icy lake in her car. And during that time that she's trapped in the vehicle, I guess things start to get figured out, or she has some sort of a near-death afterlife experience. So I don't know. It sounds really interesting. And yeah, so that's the one that I picked to read. And then the other one, they did have a bunch of Harlequins. They had some intrigue. They had a couple Presents novels. So I actually went with A Desire. And this is What the Prince Wants by Jules Bennett. So a modern royal, I guess, maybe a secret baby. I'm not too sure. It looks like it's going to be cute, and it's a relatively shorter read. So this one should be a lot of fun. So those are the ones for the Audible Romance Package Challenge. And then last but not least for the challenges, and then after this I'm just going to quickly mention the Netgalley books that I have to read this month. But I am, of course, participating in Romanceopoly, and that is being hosted by the girls over at the Under the Covers book blog and Jess from Peace Love Books. And every month I pick 3 new categories. It's over there, but I do have my board, my Monopoly board, and I go around and I roll the virtual dice and I pick my next ones. So my ones for this month, the first one is For College Row, and this one was a new adult romance. I'm not going to get into new adult. I always make a complaint about new adult. And this is not actually, because I did change it and I have it written down here, so I do apologize. If you guys will just give me just a half a second here. It is called, the book that I'm actually going to be reading is called Dear Clementine. I just don't have the author's name in front of my face. I did buy this one for the Kindle to read, and it is Dearest Clementine, and it is by Lex Martin. So this is the first in a series. I'm not exactly sure what the series is called, but this is the book I'm going to be reading for new adult college. And yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. It sounds like it's not just going to be a romance, but that there's also going to be some sort of a mystery element to it. So I'm totally on board with that, and it sounds good. And I think it was less than $4 for the Kindle, so you really can't go wrong there, right, guys? The next category that I got here, sorry, I'm waiting for my little tablet thing to load, is Erotic Eves, and this you need to read a contemporary erotica novel. Now, I have no issue with adult content in books, you guys know that. But to be completely honest, a lot of the more erotic type stories are not my favorite. They're not, I like a good story with my adult content. And sometimes, I'm not saying all of them, I'm not generalizing, because there are a lot of really, really great, heavily adult content books that are good. I know I know Steph from Steph's Romance Book Talk. She is a huge fan, and I know a lot of people love the Read Me Romance podcast, and I tried it, and it's not for me, because it does get a little too much with the adult content, and I really wish they had a better variety. You know what I mean? I wish that they had some that were more closed door. I mean, I'm not saying get rid of the adult content in full, but I just find, and this is my personal opinion, that sometimes that in these kind of books, the physical relationship is more than the emotional relationship, if that makes sense. So I'm not saying I don't like them. Some of them are quite good. You know, I've read some really great ones. Megan Hart is amazing. She wrote one of my favorite books called Deeper, which was considered to be an erotic novel, even though I really didn't find... I've read books that are much worse that are not worse. I don't want to use the term worse, but a lot more on the adult content than that one was, but it was still listed as an erotica. So anyway, so the book I ended up picking because they gave some, like, they do give you recommendations on the Romanceopoly website if you're interested to go and check that out. But I actually picked a Harlequin book, and it is a Harlequin dare novel, which is one of their categories for their category romance novels. And the dare line is considered to be the most spicy, and they are considered to be erotic novels. So the book that I'm going to be reading is called Her Guilty Secret by Claire Connolly. I've read this author before, and I really like her. Like I said, I picked this one up for the Kindle. Again, I think it was less than $4, so perfect buy there. And this is the first book in the Guilty as Sin series. What got me with this cover, it's a fairly new release, I think it might have come out in either April or March, is the Ferris wheel thing on the cover. And I think that she's actually like a district attorney of some kind. So, sounds interesting. I can give it a try and see what I think. But yeah, so I'm reading that for that challenge. And the last one for the Romanceopoly that I will be reading is Faraway Land, and that is a fantasy romance. So, you guys know, fantasy is not generally my favorite thing to read. And again, I went on to, because I don't know where to read, and which is why I love that they give recommendations, because for a lot of these categories, I didn't know where to start. It's like, give me some ideas, and then I kind of know what I'm looking for. Or in some cases, I've actually picked some of the books that have been recommended. So both the girls, both Under the Covers book blog and Jess from Peace Love Books, both recommended this book. And about a month or so ago, I was in the thrift store and I saw it. And everybody and his brother on BookTube has read this book, except for me, because it is a YA fantasy, which is not what I normally read. But I picked it up because it was in hardcover and it was only $1.99. So the book that I'll be reading this month is A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. So yes, I am actually really looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a little bit out of my comfort zone, but that's okay. Challenging yourself a bit as a reader is always fun, which is part of the reason why I love doing the Romanceopoly challenge, is because it's getting me away from what I would typically read with my contemporary romances or my Regency romances. You know, I'm reading things that I wouldn't have read before. And a lot of the stuff that I'm reading, I'm thoroughly enjoying. So that has been fantastic. But I was funny because I was saying to my husband as I was compiling my list, and I was looking at this series because there's only, I think, 3 books in this series. I really hope I like this book because I'm going to be reading it. But this other part of me hopes I don't like it because the next 2 books are like 700 pages each. So yes, I'll be reading this in this copy. I'll be reading it on a hardcover, taking it to work to read at lunch, you know, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, so I am looking forward to it. I do have a feeling that it might be an easier read because it is a YA, and now I don't want to generalize because it's a YA, you know what I mean? But the print is, you know, relatively large, you know, so it's going to be a fairly easy read through, I think. So I am very much looking forward to it. So those of you who have read it, which is pretty much everybody watching this but me, let me know your thoughts on what you thought about this one. So yeah, so the last little bit of a couple books that I want to mention, of course, are the Netgalley books that I'll be reading in May. Some of these you might remember that I mentioned in April, but I kind of worked around with my list because I was a little bit overwhelmed with all the Netgalley books that I had. So yeah, here's the ones I'm going to be reading for May. The Summer Getaway by Sheila Roberts. This one I'm very much looking forward to. It's a great it looks like it's going to be a great contemporary romance. Getting Hot with the Scot by Melanie Johnson, along with Smitten by the Brit by the same author, books 1 and 2 in this series. Very much looking forward to both of those. A Summer to Remember by Sue Moorcroft, which I believe is a contemporary romance set in the UK. I think it's a UK novel, so I'm looking forward to that one. And Sweet Wild of Mine by Laurel Kerr, which is the second book in a series that I read the first one for Netgalley, and it centers around a small town that has... I totally just dropped my tablet on the floor. I'm so sorry, you guys. I was trying to catch it and I knocked the camera. That is a small town with a zoo. So it's kind of based around a zoo, kind of an idea. So yeah, I am looking forward to it. I liked the first one, and I'm looking forward to this one. So anyway, guys, that is all that I have. You guys know these videos can tend to be a little bit longer because I do have a bunch of books on my TBR. The only books that I'm not mentioning here are my Pick It For Me challenge, which I'm doing again this month. I did it in March or April. So I'm doing it again in February. Oh my gosh. Clearly, I think I need a nap. I'm doing it again in May. And I really enjoyed it last month. So I think by the time that this video goes up, unfortunately, it will have already, you have to sign up in advance and you get paired up with somebody. So how it works is you sign up in advance and then they pair you up with somebody and you pick books for that person, excuse me, and then someone else gets paired up with you or gets you as their person and they pick books for you. So you get recommendations off of your own TBR along with personal recommendations from the person who's picking for you. So it's a lot of fun. I read 2 great books from it last month. So I'm looking forward to participating in it again in May. Again, I'll leave a link to it in the description box below. Maybe keep it on your radar and check more towards the end of May for June signups if it's something that you might be interested in. But anyway, guys, that is all that I have for this video today. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books that I've mentioned and what you thought about them, or what books are you looking forward to that are on your May TBR. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.